Mr. John Barron.
I will take this one intervention, if I may, as it was asked, Mr. Speaker, and then I will move on. I have a great respect for the people of Northern Ireland. Having served there in the 1980s and got the medals to prove it, I do take into account what the people of Northern Ireland, as part of our union, have to say. But at the same time, we are part of a United Kingdom, and I would suggest to the Honourable Lady that there are predictions on both sides of this discussion as to possible outcomes. And we just saw the Taoiseach now suggest that you did not need a hard border to solve what's become known as the Northern Ireland backstop problem. So I would suggest there are differences of opinion, and we should need to recognise that in this debate. Mr. Speaker, I will take note of your stricture, and I'll just make very quick haste in my remaining comments. We have been assured by ministers time and time and time again, both in committee and in this place, that we are indeed prepared for no deal. We have spent billions on no deal. 4.2 billion is the figure that seems to be current currency. And I would suggest that when the Prime Minister answers very directly a question that I posed to the Prime Minister at the dispatch box on the 12th of February, and it was a very simple question, are we going to be prepared? She answered in 3 words: indeed we are. Now I have to take at face value, I won't, thank you very much, I have to take at face value those reassurances by ministers that we are indeed prepared for no deal. But can I also, Mr. Speaker, come on to what seems to be a prevalent argument in this place, that no deal would lead to disaster? Not just in this place, but outside this place as well. And what I would respectfully point out to these people is that these are often the very same people who predicted doom and gloom in 2016 should we vote to leave. In fact, some of the predictions were so dire that they were beyond credibility. I mean, we had predictions that we'd have 500,000 people extra unemployed by December 2016 if we voted to leave. Some estimates put it up to 700,000 people extra unemployed. We had predictions of self-made recessions. We had even predictions, in some cases, of conflict on the continent of Europe. They were all proved wrong. So much so that the Bank of England, for the first time in its history, to my knowledge, had to publicly apologise for getting it so badly wrong. And what's happened since then? We've had record low unemployment, record high manufacturing output, record investment. And those decisions, during the course of the last 2 or 3 years, have been in the full knowledge that we could be leaving the EU on no deal stroke WTO terms. And what I would gently remind members is that investment is about comparative advantage. It's about such factors as what is your level of corporation tax rates compared to other countries? How flexible are your labour markets? What about your top universities? What about your financial expertise? In aggregate, in total, they actually are of greater influence when it comes to investment than 3 to 5 to 7% WTO tariffs. And I would ask the House just to reflect on that, because there are too many wild predictions flying around this place when really the argument or the discussion should be based on economic reality. And I would go one stage further. By introducing a fair and controlled immigration policy, wages will rise faster in this country than if that immigration policy was not in place. And that is something that Lord Rose, as the House will remember, who was leader of the Remain campaign leading up to the referendum, actually said in front of a Treasury committee. So I would suggest to the world that suggest to the House that scare stories that, somehow we're all heading for doom and gloom, that goods will no longer transverse customs unions, trading blocs around the world, they already do that, is very wide of the mark. Let's base this discussion, let's base this vote tonight on economic reality, and much as a few on the opposite benches, particularly the SNP, don't like to admit it, Actually, we're doing rather well economically. And as I've said, those decisions have been based on the possibility of us very much leaving on no-deal terms. So I would appeal, Mr. Speaker, given your guidance as to timings, I will bring my comments to a close. What I would suggest is this, though. I appeal to the House for rational consideration with regards no deal. I know there's a lot of scare stories out there, but this is a repeat. This is a repeat of 2016. Those scare stories were wrong then. They're wrong now. Let's have a note of optimism about the future of this country, a note of optimism about the capability of this country. Let's back this country. And if we can't get a good deal, then let's actually get back to economic reality and realise that we already trade profitably with the majority of the world's GDP outside the EU on WTO terms. There is no reason we can't trade with the EU on such terms, and I urge or recommend the House to support motion B.
Hear, hear.
The question is as on the order paper in respect of the honourable gentleman's motion, and we now proceed, because the honourable gentleman has, in a timely way,